Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to our second series here in the CSL Remastered, or StarCraft Remastered rather. If you're just joining us, I'm Joe, this is Zombie Grub, and we are going to be hopping into the last series of this season.
Yeah, so it's going to be HaremMaster versus Ninja. It's a TVP, my favorite matchup. Let's see how this happens.
Yeah, our countdown is starting. Our first map gonna be Python.
Okay.
And I don't think we know quite as much about these two guys. Their records are a lot closer, so I think there's a decent chance this will be a better series. So without further ado, let's hop in and introduce our players. Spawning here in the top right-hand corner, we have our white Protoss player. It is Ninja Banana.
All right then, I like that name better. Bottom left, bottom-ish. Bottom left-ish, sure. It's the blue Terran Kanzaki Reinko. Or Ninja. Or...
No, I think Ninja...
Harem.
Yeah, I'm guessing Ninja Banana is Ninja.
Yes.
Although maybe they got in here and they both had Ninja tags and it was like, oh, let me get on my Smurf. This is going to be confusing.
Nah, Kanzaki is aka HaremMaster, but I'll call him Kanzaki. That's for Japanese.
Alright, so it's going to be a TVP. You said this is your favorite matchup?
Oh yeah, from both sides. I think it's just mech in this game is so cool, unlike like in StarCraft 2. And just I think this is also one of those matchups that I want to say it's a little less how to say like obvious someone's gonna lose. Like I couldn't find a more eloquent way to say that. Yeah, that ZVP, you know, with the wall being so difficult for the Protoss player, and then I think lurkers being especially difficult to outmaneuver as a budding Protoss player. I think like a budding Terran, for instance, can actually hold on and give some, you know, glimpses of hope just because they're supposed to kind of turtle and get to these very strong units. So even if they are being outplayed, it doesn't look as bad. And for Protosses, I guess sometimes if their macros not very good, they can kind of look like severely outplayed, but the matchup just is at its core kind of a long one because the Terran really wants to bulk up for a very long time.
Yeah, I do want to give credit to Pulse in that last map. It looked a lot better than the first map. That first map was tough. So I think gotta give credit where credit's due. He did manage to make more of a series with that map. But yeah, it'll be interesting. We've seen a decent amount of mech. In the TVPs I've casted here in the CSL, we've seen a lot of kind of like potent 2.5 base pushes, where it's like I'm gonna try to do a bunch of damage, and then I'm just gonna kind of do whatever I want and try to win the game. And I don't know, like that's not really the meta from what I've seen in ASL, but maybe it's just what people are feeling is kind of manageable and what they can execute the best right now.
2.5 from the Protoss perspective?
From the Terran.
Ah, interesting. So Python, I think, is one of those maps that a lot of people would try and just 5-fact on, just out of principle. it's as far as I understand it, it is in a way Terran favored, but I think that really goes to the more experienced players, because the first thing you would notice on Python as a player coming back into the game, or just, you know, you don't spend all your life playing Brood War, is that your third base, the most obvious third base, doesn't have any gas, and mech equals gas, you know. So it can be tough. There's a lot of I think just urgency to just getting the game over with some of these guys, and that does kind of make sense there. Kanzaki has a nice wall that ended up being a perfect wall against a zealot tight Marine are allowed to go through. That's perfect.
Alright, SCV Scout coming up here from Kanzaki. He's going to get the read on what his opponent's doing. Ninja Banana has taken his gas. He hasn't moved out to any bases yet. And nothing so far going to be setting off any kind of alarm bells. We do see that probe moving out. Probably looking to set down a natural base here. And he can even see that Cyber Core spitting, so he knows some of the gas is going on.
Yeah, Dragoon range. It's a solid opener for the Protoss. They can even open up a bit more aggressively with Dragoon range and like double expand behind it and keep the Terran a little on their feet, but the solid opener. I think even Kanzaki double scouted, that's why his CD's over here, but To note, Ninja does have a better overall score at 4-0, but Kanzaki at 3-1. As you said, this could be the closest matchup we have. But I remember we said that because someone else had a similar, it was like 2-2 to 2-2 or something like that. And then one person did end up just being better at the matchup. So I'm personally hoping this is going to be a long, like pretty even back and forth. He can be awesome. But yeah, it kind of, well, we'll rather see. But both players need to have a good understanding of how this early game goes. And that's already a great sign.
Yeah, does look like Kanzaki getting out that siege tank. Research, of course, in Brood War, you can't siege tanks right when they come out of the factory. You have to get that researched. But even the tank's just offering a lot of DPS and scaring away those Protoss Gateway units.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's interesting is that this opener could look like a factory expand. You know, Ninja could think that the command center is somewhere in the back. His high ground hasn't given them vision of it yet. But it's actually going to be a drop, and this could be a big old surprise. I would say a lot of Terran players aren't getting too aggressive. At least if they do, it's very haphazard. It's like, oh, I'll make some vultures, and then I'll make a drop ship, and then they don't micro it very well. You know, they have an idea, but there's no execution. I think Kanzaki looks like he's really got this build order more on lockdown. So I'm thinking his execution is going to be better too.
Yeah, he's got the first 3 vultures in here. It looks like that's what he's going to be choosing to move out with. His dropship going out on the map. At the same time, Ninja Banana continuing to go for pokes here and there. He's got 3 Dragoons up here, but there's nothing here that's going to be like super obvious to give him away. I mean, maybe the control tower, but I don't see him getting any kind of peek at that.
Yeah, he's not. He's not going to be able to, not until the observer pops out, and he still has to wait for an observatory. So he really is in the dark, but it is getting a little suspicious. Like, basically around this time, I think the cross player is like, okay, why is there a command center trying to float on over right now? So he's probably getting, like, you know, spidey sense. I think something else is going on.
All right, well, here comes the drop. This natural probe line is completely undefended, but it's looking like there may be a bypass of that. The first vulture gets dropped. The Dragoon is here now, but the Spider Mines start going down. Let's see if they're able to get any shots off. A really nice job cutting up the natural and main reinforcement points there with those mines. One vulture does get cleaned up, but these probes are very vulnerable to the frag grenades.
Yeah, the Dragoon accidentally fragged the probe line. That's how they can kind of probes, basically. But since probes hover, nothing is... hover doesn't activate Spider Mines. It's a really weird way to say it, but yeah, there are units in this game that hover. The Archons are even included in that, maybe, but like vultures don't activate other vultures. Spider Mines, for instance, too, because they hover. It's weird, but that's how it goes. But while the Spider Mines aren't the ones that kill the workers, vultures are very good harassment units, and I'm actually not too sure about that execution. Kanzaki putting more emphasis on Spider Mine. Laying down spider mines than the probe harassment, I think was the wrong plan. I think he should have done just the harassment while he could, let them die.
I mean, one thing is, vultures are not the most expensive unit. He did keep the dropship alive, and it looks like he's going to try to make another pass at this with another 3 vultures here.
Looking back at Kanzaki's build, I thought that his opener was pretty solid, but I am starting to like really wonder about what he's got in store here. 3 factory, like 1 base is not, you know, okay, that could be like an all-in, that could be a cheese, right? Like, sure, that exists, but I'm just wondering about the engineering bay. Perhaps scared of DTs coming out, so he needs like more dependable missile turrets, you know, for instance, instead of just comsats, but he's invested a lot into not just this attack, is kind of my way of saying it. So remember, he's spent money on the starport, he spent money on engineering bay, but he's trying to accomplish this attack, and Banana, well, he's coming now.
Yeah, he's pulling the boys. He's got tanks behind this. The Dragoons are going to meet this in the middle of the map, which is where you want to see it. That's going to give him more time to pump out units. He kind of has room to dance away from the range of those siege tanks and pick off the buffer units here. And, I mean, the army of Ninja Banana looks very meaty compared to this army that just seems super focused on these tech units, the tank here of Kanzaki.
Oh, so Kanzaki desperately wants the Zealots to drag those mines into the probes. Unfortunately, it doesn't really happen there, and the vultures are killed, but loving the distraction tactic, he could have paired that up with more aggressive forward positioning on the tanks. That would have been beautiful. At least gets 1 lockdown.
Ooh, even going in for missile turrets here. So I guess
Yeah.
that does explain the engineering bay.
Yeah. So, I mean, it might not be for DTs. That would have been a cheesier build from Ninja, but he also could be thinking about shuttle zealot drops, basically. And obviously, he has no other anti-air. There's no Goliaths out yet, so the turn's the only way. Also, killing observers so his spider mines last longer is great.
All right, these Dragoons are moving up to the line here. There's a lot of tank firepower, but the Dragoons are able to get right on top of it because the buffer is basically depleted here. But these 3 tanks in the back offer so much firepower. The Marines able to clean up the last of the Dragoons. 2 tanks are still alive, and I don't think this attack is stopping anytime soon.
I don't think so either. Kanzaki, I was wondering about the engineering bay, but using it exactly the way that you should. It's a 1-base cheesy build, you know, I think that's just got to be said. You don't see that too often, I would say, but Terrans definitely have it. And he's executing it quite well. Like, it's not just the siege hopping forward, it's the Sim City of these supply depots is kind of cool. And if you look at his minerals and gas, he's using them very well, where, of course, Ninja Banana, clearly that's his problem right now, is not having enough gateways. He should have had a few more units to be able to clean that up.
Yeah, now that the army's been reset, Ninja Banana is going to be sitting on a lot of zealots, which are going to have trouble getting on top of these tanks through the spider mines here. The vultures are making a great buffer. The tanks firing from behind. Probes coming off the line to try to help out with this, but the Marines are going to come in from the back here, and I think he may have broken the back of Ninja Banana.
I think so. Always feels bad to lose a game with so many minerals in the bank, but he absolutely needed those minerals as units with that first engagement. Had he had 4 extra dragoons, 5 extra zealots, he probably stops the snowball, but he was desperately missing the gateways.
These dragoons are going to step up here, try to get on top of the tanks in the back line, but I mean, 1 dragoon versus a tank, Vulture, Marines, it's just a really tough fight. Kudos to Ninja Banana for doing some fancy footwork with his micro and reducing the tank count here. This may actually be an engageable force. I'm just not sure if too much damage has been done already.
Yeah, that is the question. Kanzaki really does not have as many units as it would seem on the mini-map. You know, those are a lot of vultures that aren't being rallied forward. There are a lot of spider mines and structures. And Kanzaki now with 2 extra gateways, now pumping out as much as he should be, is holding this without losing his nexus.
Yeah, actually going to be able to get a full cleanup as Ninja Banana. He starts reprobing right away. Kanzaki's moving back. He's still on just 1 base here. Now, he's not mined out or anything like that, but his income is going to be so small compared to his opponents, who is just fully powered up and now has access to everything he could ever want. Really, really beautiful hold by Ninja Banana.
Yeah, one of those desperate last holds. I think that this happens a lot, especially in Brood War. It looks so tempting as you push into the natural, you siege up on a choke, and I think that's got to be it. And then just numbers really push you back, and Ninja was finally able to get those numbers up. He also was able to sneak out a 3rd base basically over here, so he's starting to build probes now, and he is looking to be in a fantastic spot. Kanzaki's really got to play a super long game here on out because his command center only halfway done. That's only as natural when, you know, in a typical game, this would be going to a 3rd base right now.
Yeah, it looks like Ninja Banana commanding position. The Nat just starting to come down for Kanzaki. Might get caught by some of these spider mines, which would be a bit unfortunate for him. But no, the Dragoons are on point with their attack. And that's like the early warning net for Kanzaki, too. He no longer has any map vision once this is all cleaned up.
He does have enough SimCity that he's not going to get broken on 2 bases. Ninja Banana would need an extreme supply advantage to break this. It's obnoxious, but it's the truth. So I like that Kanzaki just sent his vultures out. They aren't going to be too helpful, basically turtling. So he's going to try and get some damage done to the probe line, but there's so many probes to kill to get back to this game.
All right, these vultures are going to try to get on top of it. They do offer a bit of splash damage here. The probe pull is good. They get this around on top of these vultures, and the dragoons are going to come down and help out with this. I mean, decent amount of probe kills it looks like here. It's hard to tell how many went down just because of the pull, but the vultures are going to get cleaned up eventually, and I guess it's better than just sitting on your laurels, right?
Yeah. I think he was up for like 7 or 8 probes after that. Yeah, roughly. So I'd say there was a good like 12, maybe even like 15, because I think that was oversaturated at the start of it. But it is hard to tell for sure. But the problem is that he needed to get so many probes. He needed to get like 30 or 40 probably. I'm talking like every single mineral line harassed at once. Because as it is right now, Kazaki's not going to get any other damage done. He's going to be able to, throw more vultures out and do the same thing, but that's actually still a bigger loss for him, so only on 2 bases.
Yeah, and now Ninja Banana moving out once again with Dragoons. He knows that he can afford to move out on the map at this point and just take map control. Make sure he doesn't get caught like that again. It wasn't enough probe damage, but why take it if you don't have to? And behind all of this, he's adding on his Stargate. He's getting those ground armor and weapons upgrades. And Kanzaki is just kind of stuck, turtling up, getting out more siege tanks, and eking out whatever upgrades he can afford here.
Yeah, Ninja, the worst thing you could do is just like force the win, try and bust Kanzaki on 2 bases. That's just asking for trouble, especially since Kanzaki has decent micro. He wouldn't be like dealt bomb to death, I don't think. Yeah, he's even cleaning up his spider mines, realizing that's a possibility. So I think Ninja just needs to keep expanding and get a higher tech. An Arbiter recall would probably be a killer right into that main base. And if not that, just stasis. Basically Arbiter. Arbiter way to victory.
Yeah, Kanzaki did send out a Wraith to try to get a scout on that 3rd base. Got cleaned up by the photon cannons, which can't feel great when you're already behind. Losing a Wraith for completely free. Ninja's even adding on a 4th base at this point, feeling really confident that Kanzaki just can't do anything to touch him here. Yeah. And I think he's right. I think his instincts are right on in this scenario.
Yeah, absolutely agree. He is heavily supply blocked. Like he was at 91 out of 91 for so long, and now he's almost at 99.99. That is halting his progress here, I suppose. But he has a lot of room to make mistakes. Kanzaki has to play kind of perfectly defensively until he's at maybe like 150. Might be a good number because I think by that point Ninja would not only be maxed out, but have an Arbiter or 2 if he was playing it right. So Kanzaki has a more patient road to follow, but I like this. He's gonna take the back base, which in Python is kind of forgotten about. Your natural 3rd is that one without the gas I was talking about, but then if you get drop ships, you can take the one in the back as soon as you mine out this 1 mineral field.
Yeah, I believe that has 1 mineral, so that is gonna instantly disappear here. And nice moves from Kanzaki to try to get back into this. He showed like a cheesy opening, which a lot of the times, if you're seeing a player you don't know well and you see him open up with that super cheesy kind of 1 base push, maybe it suggests that's kind of their thing. But Kanzaki's showing us he can maybe do this for the long game. His tank count is getting really nice here, and I think he just doesn't want to be broken. He thinks he can still make this happen in a big long macro game.
Well, that's the trick about Brood War, and I think TVP too, is that you shouldn't really tap out. If this was StarCraft 2, Ninja's already tapped out. He was contained on his natural. That's game over. And then if that didn't work, Kanzaki's already tapped out because there just isn't as much of a hurdle effect. There's not as many expectations that your opponent will mess up as there is in Brood War. There are so many things to consider that even if you're playing against Beast, make some mistake. Like, he just has a billion things to do, especially if you're Flash countering him on every mistake. So don't give up, especially if you know you can survive on 2 bases, and especially if you can squeeze in a 3rd kind of in a sneaky way.
Yeah, no gas here, so he is still going to be a bit starved for that, is Kanzaki. But it's heavily defended with all of these missile turrets and spider mines. He's going to get a bit of a heads up if his opponent is able to sniff this out. And even then, he'd still need shuttles or that Arbiter to try to get behind this.
Yeah. Excellent maneuvers from Kanzaki to bring it back. Perhaps that's why he did this build on this map, knowing that if it did fail, hopefully he did any damage at all, and he could turtle his way back to victory. I was a little afraid Ninja was taking too long to get to that higher tech I was talking about. He wasn't getting maxed, nor was he getting to higher tech. He was, again, waffling on these supply blocks, and they've been really brutal. I'm talking like minute-long supply blocks, and we have like another one right now. 2 minutes even. It's getting kind of insane. But he finally adds on 4 Stargates, which I think he already had one. So total 5 Stargates. It's not going to be Arbiters. It should be Carriers.
Yeah, and Against carriers, Kanzaki's really going to struggle. He doesn't have any Goliaths out yet, I don't think. Okay, the first Goliath is out, but the anti-air is still the biggest weakness of Kanzaki's army. He's going to be relying really heavily on these missile turrets, hoping the position was good enough. But if if Banana gets up to that kind of mass amount of carriers, it's just really, really tough to break with this kind of army.
Unfortunately, like, even though the targets are done, I don't see any carriers in production. He recently got on supply blocks, but went back to building a ground army. And at this point, a 30 supply difference is winnable for the mech army against a regular ground one. Finally, there we go, 5 carriers. This is something that Kanzaki desperately needs to scout. He's either got to start scanning every which way, and scans kind of, they're not free, but they are in store here. They haven't had to be used. He could start scanning every which way, or he did some harassment in to see the stargates.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking a little bit scared to move out with these vultures. He's kind of been caught every time so far. He's starting to leapfrog forward with these tanks, but just taking a bit of map presence isn't going to give him that indicator until Ninja Banana's ready to attack, and you don't want to be staring down the barrel of the Golden Armada here.
I heard so many scans go down, but they were all scouting for where the army was. He was like, why am I getting away with this? Why isn't there like a 200 army coming at me? But it seems like he hasn't quite thought about scanning for the stargates. So getting a little bit tunnel vision under surviving this long, not scanning for these extra very important tech swaps, because he needs to start not just Goliath production, but also really needs to continue upgrading. His upgrades really aren't that bad, but upgrades are going to be really nice against carriers.
Yeah, well, the first 5 carriers are going to start popping out any second now, and then he's just going to need to start building up that interceptor count, trying to make things happen here. And there we go. At the same time, Kanzaki's actually chosen this moment to move out, so maybe he can at least get a sense of what's happening on his opponent's side of the map. Seeing those carriers, while they're still trying to build up that massive interceptors, is going to be really nice for Kanzaki, especially if he can trade out these vultures for units where he can start replacing that with a more useful supply in the form of Goliaths.
The problem right now is that he can't replace this army. He is entirely gas-starved, and those carriers are the worst thing for him to see. He cannot deal with those. 2 Goliaths are very desperately trying to focus them down. They are still building the interceptors to Kanzaki's credit, so they're really not looking that strong. But he needs so many more Goliaths than that.
Yeah, and actually it looks like Kanzaki is going to be completely pinned up here as the ground army of Ninja Banana comes in from the south. It's going to get on top of all of this. The tanks are going to trade out decently, but that is the GG called. And that's going to be our first game of the second series.
That was actually a really awesome game. Some nice pressure from Kanzaki, Ninja barely holding on, and then able to flesh out the macro game. It was a little lackluster at the end, just carriers, right, popping up. He didn't scout it, but it was still, I think, the closest TVP we've seen. Just with the first 10 minutes of the game being pretty nail-biting.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes from there, because it looked like Terran there, Kanzaki, maybe was a little bit stronger. He wasn't dealing with quite the mechanical issues like the constant supply box we talked about. The execution of his first build looked really strong and then just fell a little bit short. So I'd like to see him maybe in a game that's a bit more normal. Like, how does that play out if he doesn't start from putting himself, 2 miles behind?
Yeah, I agree. I'd like to see that as well. He did look a bit more macro mechanically inclined. He said the lack of supply blocks were I don't know if it was the lack of supply blocks were noticeable or just Ninja Banana supply blocks were so noticeable. Either one.
Well, spawning here in the top right hand corner, we have our yellow Protoss. It is Ninja Banana.
In the bottom right, kind of, it is the blue Terran, Kanzaki Renko.
Ninja Banana, of course, up 1-0 here as we get into our second map of this series. If he wins this here, he can close it out. Brood War is best of 3 for the CSL guys, because Brood War games take longer than StarCraft 2 in general. I mean,
Yeah.
we saw in the last series it's not always the case, but just because of all the comeback potential, we've decided to do best of 3.
Yeah. It's absolutely true. The comeback potential, just the dynamic of Brood War, how easy it is to flub and not continue with that same lead you had just a couple minutes ago. It's not a game that will end or should end that quickly if you're both well matched, and that's being the biggest difference, right, of this league, the CSL, and like, you know, the pros. Best of 5 for their finals makes so much sense, but best of 3s here sometimes are just 5 minutes long. The lanes get in and they don't know how to wall it. It sucks, game over. But it is still awesome to see. It's such an endeavor. CSL in general, any collegiate type league is really cool to support, and it's also that they brought back StarCraft, as it was kind of the thing that started it all.
Yeah, Damon, who is currently, I believe, the CEO of CSL, I think was one of the early champions. That was a fun fact Rapid told me of the Brood War CSL.
There you go. Rapid did. Rapid's like such a weird guy. He's not just such a knowledgeable guy, like, because he studied. He also has just been into esports for so damn long, but no one ever really heard his name for so long. But it's always like, oh yeah, you don't realize that Rapid was actually watching Brood War 15 years ago. He just never talks about it until he needs like an interesting fact to tell someone. Like, I got it. It's right here.
Well, I remember when he entered the scene, I knew of him as like a league caster. He was like a NA Challenger league caster, and I was like aware of him, and I was like, oh, he's casting like Chinese StarCraft now, and then suddenly he's at Pro League and GSL and everything. So that was cool to see.
Yeah, he's a very interesting road, basically. But it's just insane how many esports he watches. Like, everyone makes fun of him for being on Twitter at odd hours. This guy just doesn't sleep. He watches all esports, so including Brood War, which kind of coming back to, we do have Tal Cross as the map chosen by our Terran, right? I think it's loser's pick.
Yeah, I do believe loser picks here. It's not like in StarCraft 2. Because it's the Pro League format, we have preset maps. We don't get a map list before each of the Brood War. So, because those are picks, and because he had such a kind of a cool opening last map, I wonder if Kanzaki has like a hard plan going into this.
Well, it's kind of weird. Python and Tal Cross have a similar problem, and then a similar benefit to Python. So I talked about how I've heard that Python can even be considered Terran favored. Again, if like you're both really good at the game, but it's that lack of gold, like that gas that looks like, okay, how? Well, the size of the map, right? Like, typically if you're expanding, you get to expand towards your opponent as the stronger race as time goes on. In this matchup, it's considered to be Terran. You know, once it gets to maxed out mech, it's considered the strongest composition you can get to. So if they get to expand and push to their opponent, it's like A+. But it can also backfire, you know, if you do a one base build and it fails, right? So Tau Cross also has, I think, a similar setup where your third base, it's like a wide open concave. I think there is a gas though, I actually can't remember, but the point is like a wide open concave, and even if you have a nice opener, you didn't, again, all in initially, it can be hard to appropriately determine when to push out and take it, because if you're 10 supply less than you need, the Protoss player can definitely punish you.
Yeah, these openings are actually pretty similar to what we saw in the last game. Ninja Banana powering up that Dragoon range. We see Siege Tank research excuse me, coming out of Kanzaki here. And I'm just curious to see what the next move is going to be. Ninja Banana taking that natural quite a bit earlier than Kanzaki once again. No starport this time, though. I think that's the big difference that we're seeing.
Yeah, so he is going for fake double. I guess this is what it's called. I've actually never seen an actual double factory opener, but anyways, you get a decent number of Marines, you get spider mines, and then go into siege tank mode as your research, and you do a bit of pressure. The main, I think, problems for Protoss in this is if they don't scout it, first of all, which, hey, scout, and then they don't stall it out at all. That's when this push can turn into, you know, what seems to be just an attempt to get an early game lead into a game winning move.
Well, here we go. The first move out is coming. Ninja Banana is going to be aware of this. He's got his units out on the map to greet these Marines, but they're going to get right on top of the Dragoons. Fancy footwork coming out of Ninja Banana here. He's pulling back, and it looks like he's starting to stall this out as he's chiseled away at the Marine numbers here, but they are able to take out one Dragoon, and that takes up just about half the firepower of Ninja Banana's defending army.
So I wondered about the second tank so fast, but this is not, I don't think this is actually the fake double. This is something that I don't know, to be honest. So he went for siege tank upgrade first, not spider mines, it looks like. The vulture still isn't being used from them, so I guess that's the case. And then he follows up with bio. Guys, this is really weird. If you don't know anything about Brood War right now, maybe the last time you played was in 1998. People still thought bio was the way to go. I don't know. It's not. You slowly expand off of a factory, and then you add more factories, and you go mech. So this is a cheese build to, I think, the perfect the epitome of what cheese is. Like, it's unexpected, it's rushy, it thrives off of not being scouted, and it could kill Ninja Banana. We'll see. Just keep in mind, bio units are really bad against Protoss as time goes on.
Yeah, but I mean, he's gonna have a lot of power. He's gonna have a medic out. It looks like 2, and he is gonna have stim and 5 tanks. This is a lot of firepower. But like you said, just because they don't scale quite as well as the gateway units out of Protoss, he's gonna need to make something happen soon.
I think I've seen Atosis do a couple of these, and I was like teach me, like, show us some of these cheesy builds, and he did it once or twice. He even did it at the remastered event, right, with all the old guys came back and talked about it and just had a lot of fun. And he was a competitor. He got, I think, 4-0'd, but one of the games he did this against a Protoss player he's having trouble with. And I think the more key aspect of this is that the bio does last long enough that the tanks are doing that damage. They're just not protected by vultures, they're protected by Marines and medics.
All right, these Marines gonna get on top of everything. The tanks are getting their chance to siege up. They're gonna be the big damage dealers here for these Dragoons, which are already starting to fall, reducing that number by quite a bit. Just 2 Dragoons left, and suddenly the army of Kanzaki looks really scary compared to what Ninja Banana has to defend with. He's gonna need to get things out of his gateways ASAP. He's producing off of 4 right now. Just trying to get up enough ninjas or zealots and Dragoons to hang on. He knows what he's dealing with.
They're kind of like ninjas. Yeah, this is... I really feel like the strength is that the bio just takes up so much time. The tanks get away with so much. Like, it's really not so much the damage, although stimmed Marines still do have some nice damage. And Fire Bats also take care of Zealots, I think, in an okay way. The bunkers would have been really hard to take care of, too, so that's why Ninja Banana is trying to really stop this. Focus fire that SCV. Oh, is that doing it? No.
He's actually even getting out the Marine range upgrade, is Kanzaki here, so that's a bit funky. I don't think I've seen that in a cheese before, but with the stim and all these tanks, I mean, it has the ability to try to make something happen. The Dragoons are trying to get on top of this once again, but with 3 tanks in the back firing away, I think it's going to have the power to clean up all of this, and there's more Marines in the bunker to help.
There are 4 tanks. There are 2 and then 2 Marine Force that just weren't doing anything. They could have been so helpful. That extra DPS, even on siege, would have been enough to save 1 more tank, perhaps. As it is, the bunker survives, SCVs can repair it, and the tanks are still scary to leapfrog forward, but he's desperately missing that fodder I was talking about. He has reinforcements that are just not being rallied in a way that helps him when he's pressured. They're being rallied so that Kanzaki can grab them later, but only after the fight's already done.
Yeah, he is starting to try to get that Marine count up to be a good buffer once again. Oh. Taking out that Zealot bomb is really nice. And it looks like Kanzaki's kind of solidified this weird beachhead that he's got set up with the bunker and the supply depot in the middle of the map.
Yeah. Like I said, I love how Kanzaki's playing. I feel like it is a lot of players who get into Brood War or get back into Brood War, and they'll be like, I'm gonna learn one solid macro build. But this guy is just like, I'm like, back to cheese, man. Like, I know my execution. I'm gonna try and do this.
He's building an engineering bay on his opponent's side of the map. This is like if Haas were to play Terran in Brood War a little bit, and I'm really enjoying watching it happen. It's a slow, steady leapfrog. It's almost like a boa constrictor. He's just suffocating all the air of Ninja Banana, and pinning him closer and closer back into his natural.
The tank can fire occasionally at the Nexus. What's up with that?
I think a Dragoon drifted into its scan range.
I guess so, yeah. Well, this huge concave it looks good for Ninja Banana, but Kanzaki has so much of that buffer now that reinforced. Ninja's not gonna be able to break this at all.
Yeah, and I mean, by moving into this and getting committed, he's actually allowed his entire army to be reset. That's gonna be the game. GG is called. And Kanzaki takes the second game. We are going to game 3 for the first time in a while. I don't think we see a lot of game 3s in Brood War.
That's what I was going to say. We do not see a lot of game 3s in this league. It is awesome. They seem really well matched for each other, but that cheese is certainly hard to hold. He really had a shot when he took out that first ball of bio units, but just not enough to actually stop the snowball. Need a few more units again.
Yeah, and I felt like Kanzaki did a good job of, we were talking about he needed to be rallying his units. It seemed like he kind of got a sense of that, like, hey, I lost that first battle because I didn't rally my units. And the second time he actually fought, he just had all hands on deck trying to make something happen. So good to see that kind of adjustment and learning coming out of him.
Yeah. Of course, our Protoss player had that Zealot bomb attempt that just ultimately failed. That was another kind of nail in the coffin, I think. A lot of Zealots, a lot of money that was put into that doesn't end up helping, but whoa!
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused here. Spawning here in the top right-hand corner, he's shown some unorthodox strategies, and he's going to bust out another one here. It is the race-picking Zerg, Kanzaki.
In the bottom left, there's the purple Protoss. It is Ninja Banana.
So I was like all ready to ask you as we got into this map. So it didn't work the first game. It worked the second game. Does he do it again? And my whole line of questioning got thrown off because he went Zerg. What do you think is going through Ninja Banana's head right now?
Well, hopefully he noticed. First of all, he didn't just assume that it was Terran. Okay, he noticed. And then I guess he's probably thinking extreme cheese. Zerg's obviously could 6-pool and just trying to end the game that way, but not too paranoid about that. He's not double scouting with his probes. I still gotta imagine he's thinking all in of some type, so cross, or I keep saying 6-pool, 4-pool is what I should have said. So either like cross to full pool off the list, okay, he's not doing that. Cross like a Ling bus off the list if he's not doing that, and then there's the Hydra bus you could do, cross like, and just keep on crossing off these things, lurker drops, cross, because all this guy's done is cheese and all in off of Terran. Like, I don't think it would change very much with Zerg.
Yeah, it looks like his pool is coming down now. Back on the other side of the map, Ninja Banana still just getting out some pylons. He is going for, it looks like that Forge Fast Expand, most likely, and that's going to help him be safe against, I think you're probably right. He's suspecting that there's going to be some cheese coming out of Kanzaki here.
If it was a 4-pool, though, I feel like I don't think the probe scout helps that much, but I think it gives you advance notice to pull the probes, if I had to guess, if how to defend it. You don't see 4-pools too much in professional aircraft, so actually I wouldn't even be sure. So that's usually like, if you're really paranoid of a Zerg player, you can double scout, SCV probe, whatever. But he's going to see soon enough that there was, in fact, nothing to worry about. And then the other tests will, as I said, be like, cross that Ling bus off your list. Keep your probe constantly scouting, searching for any like odd number of Lings, basically. Like 6 is whatever, but then 12 is worrying.
Yeah, it looks like he's still droning, is Kanzaki. And Ninja Banana is going to be able to see that drone count is going to continue to rise. Might even see that pop from this egg here.
Super annoying extractor. Gas steal. Doubly annoying in this game as there's only one extractor. You can't just say, okay, I'm limited gas, you're on no gas.
Yeah, that's going to be tough to deal with. Ninja Banana is going to have to figure out how he wants to deal with that. And at the same time, Kanzaki is going to be moving out with his first couple Lings. Ninja did see the natural hatchery, so that's got to be a little bit reassuring for him, knowing it's nothing too crazy coming out of his opponent here. And I'm guessing he's probably still a little bit confused. He's going to be wondering about that race switch choice.
Mm-hmm. There's so many things. I listed just a handful of what Zerg can still do after a 4 pool, and I'm sure there's even more I'm not thinking about. So there's just no getting around that Jibana's going to be really paranoid. Um, they find it odd if he would think he's going to switch to Zerg just to play a macro game, unless he knew Kanzaki is usually a Zerg and it's been a trick all along. The Terran was the weird cheesy race that he uses, not his usual one. Like that would have been a real like. What's his face? That always is like, Shyamalan twist. Like that would be super weird.
Yeah, that's some 10th level mind games if that's what's going on. It looks like actually going for a third is Kanzaki.
Oh, it's always deceiving. Never trust a Zerg's third in any rate or any game. It could be droned, it could not be droned, and we have a Hydra stand already on the way, so I definitely want to say a Hydra bust, but to be honest, even fast lurkers can trip up Protosses. A lurker drop would be the coolest thing, but...
Hey, Kanzaki's shown us like really good micro and really good execution of funky stuff, so I'm not ready to put anything past him here. It does look like Ninja Man is finally going to get to clean up this extractor and start unlocking the gas in his main base. He was able to get the assimilator in its natural, so it's not like he's been completely gas starved, but it's still annoying to be at this point into the game and only just starting to clean up your opponent's extractor in your base.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, unfortunately I don't know enough details for us for Zerg builds to say exactly what this pushes off, but considering that Kanzaki is following up with a Hydra bust, he's got range on the way here. If this pushes off your speed or your storm, then that's absolutely crucial. If it means that they still try and force a Stargate opener, and that pushes off even more, then that's like really important. Basically, whatever this did, if it pushed off the defense, Kanzaki's like got a long game plan here, and it's kind of working.
Ninja Banana knocking out one of his own gateways to try to free a zealot here.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. That's a lot of production to wait for again, and he does not know about the Hydra bust. He sees the Hydras now, and that's like an awfully really suspicious timing. I feel like mass cannon should already be on the way. At least like 1 or 2 more, just in case. But it's actually Kanzaki that's running away from these zealots.
Yeah, I wonder if he's just waiting for, I was gonna say Ling buffer, but there are no Ling reinforcements. It's just gonna be pure Hydra here. Probably just wants to group up with the rest of his forces, doesn't want to let a couple lone zealots get on top and pick off the weak Hydra, I guess.
Yeah, and he's not going for the Hydra bust. I mean, he made nothing but Hydras for a little while, but then went back into drones, is getting kind of a defensive setup here with another creep tumor. Sunken Colony now being formed at his third base. I don't know if he's swapped plans because of what he scouted, because of how well Ninja has kept his cool, or just wanted to look like he was going to provide aggression, but it's back into the macro game and back into Aspire. So maybe hoping to catch Ninja just doing zealots, trying to force his way up to the storm because he's so afraid of this Hydra thing. I think catching him without a Stargate. Well, fortunately for him, he did get a Stargate.
Ooh, these Hydra's actually going to be able to clean up the Corsair before it's able to get that Overlord. And they are going to be able to do a little bit of poking and dancing out here at the front since they do have that range out. And there's a lot of surface area on that wall to be poking away from.
We have lurker aspect on the way. So this is becoming a typical PvZ, right? Like at a certain point, it just is, okay, these are the technologies you would expect from a normal game. I do still feel like Ninja wanted a little bit more, Zaki wanted a little bit more aggression, but as it is, lurkers, mutas, maybe one of these things will catch Ninja Banana off guard, but he has preparation for both. He has the potential for defense for both.
This Corsair going to come over here. No AA available just yet at the third base, and he can actually get some damage done until those Scourge and Mutas start popping out. It looks like the first 7 meter on the way. This Corsair is also going to be nice because it's going to give the indication to Ninja Banana that these Mutas could be on the way.
Yeah. The Muta will pop out and chase that down, and that is the first sign. I think he might have seen the Spire, but now he definitely knows. So maybe a couple more Corsairs, yeah, exactly, and definitely go into the Dragoons. And he's going to be going into, as I said, Zealot Dragoon anyways. He's getting Ninja Goon range. Actually, he's getting air weapons. Help those Corsairs out.
Oh man, I just want to say this is such a terrific series to finish out the winter season of CSL. Like, it's back and forth, 1-to-1 race switching, and both of these guys just playing really good games. These mutas are going to get over the probe line, start getting those glaives down and cleaning up some probes here. The muta count's high enough that they're actually just cleaning up the Corsairs really well.
I was wondering what Ninja Banana is doing. I thought maybe he was going to try and catch the mutas on the backside, but he's just deciding to go for it. He doesn't want to hassle with bringing the Dragoons back to help the mutas. A couple reinforcements pop out, and Kanzaki's not going to deal with them. He's going to try and run home and defend his third.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty potent army, and he's only got a handful of Hydras down here to try to help out with this. It looks like Ninja Banana are going to be able to overwhelm this army really easily, and some Muta's going to come swapping in from this side here, trying to do that cute Muta micro where he can pick off the Dragoons, taking minimal losses. Once he cleans up the AA, he can effectively just wipe the floor with the Zealots using these Blades here, and pretty good hold out of Kanzaki, not taking too much damage on that third.
Lurker is out here to help. 2 Lurkers, in fact. That hatchery is... it still isn't going to go down, but he almost saved it. It required the last reinforcement to take it out, so that's, in a way, good for our Zerg player. Making a lot, however, hasn't added on any extra hatcheries. Macro will be a problem for him, especially now, where Ninja Banana is still okay on 2 bases. Would be looking towards a third if he didn't just do that attack, perhaps.
Yeah, Kanzaki, who, showed us up with his really great spending of his money, seems to be struggling a bit this game. I wonder if that's just because he's likes to be a cheesy player with a low unit count, or if maybe he's just not super used to Zerg. He is a race switcher here. He's gonna move out with these mutas again, but I think the defenses should all be in place for Ninja Banana. He's got Dragoons on the ground, he's got Corsairs in the air, and he's not gonna get caught with his pants down again.
Oh yeah, he's definitely more prepared against the this time. Cannon's finishing up perfectly. Third base is on the way. A handful of Lings or even 2 Lurkers could stall that out, but I don't think Ninja Banana's Kanzaki's thinking about it. I don't know why I keep doing this, guys. Confused. I had him set when it was Cross versus Terran, man. But this Terran threw me off.
These first Lurkers are gonna burrow up outside the natural of Ninja Banana, and I don't think there's any actual observers, so I'm not sure quite how far the detector range on these photon cannons go, but these Lurkers are going to be difficult to engage until we see some mobile detection out of the Protoss.
Unfortunately, Ninja Banana was, rightly so, caught up in all this aggression versus all the Hydras, then he saw the mutas, then there was a kind of a pseudo base trade. Didn't have time to think about the Lurkers that he knew were there. He died to them after all, but hasn't really responded to them. Corsairs can take on mutas pretty damn well, but even then, flying into them was a questionable move, and all those Hydras are there too, so be careful.
The first Zealot's gonna pop out here and try to poke in, but not a smart idea versus the Lurkers. Pulling back, and Kanzaki is content to kind of have the siege position. He has the mutas to cut off any kind of clever maneuvering, and he's actually bringing his Lurker count up to 5, which is going to be a whole lot tougher to engage as he continues to siege up the front of this base.
Now that Kanzaki is on 4 bases, he is spending his money quite well, but, banging some gas here, but the money's going quite well. He's really got a contain set up here. He's also adding on upgrades and ventral sacks, so a couple of drops in the main base would make things really difficult. I'm not sure Ninja Banana has an answer to this current contain. He's still desperately trying to get to an observatory. Yeah, it's just finishing up.
Yeah, but then he's still got to wait for the actual production of the observer here. His front wall is completely knocked down. The good news for him is he does have enough Dragoons to kind of hold the line against anything but uncontested Lurkers here, and the Lurkers can't really move up. So these guys are kind of looking each other down in a bit of a standoff here. And it's going to be who blinks first, I think.
So Ninja Banana has been spending his money as well as he could, lacking that third base gas. And his supply is quite convincing. It just is the positioning right now that is questionable. If his observer gets sniped as well, that could be devastating, and these mutas are just waiting for the opportunity. So it's really going to come down to how this eventual break goes. It's got to happen soon. Up there it is.
Yeah, these Dragoons gonna move out. The Lurkers offering a lot of firepower, but the Corsairs coming in from the back. They're gonna clean up a lot of these mutas. These Hydras should really be fighting with this army. Instead, they're gonna come back at the end here. The Dragoons are already on top of the Lurkers, though, and that's a very efficient cleanup. There's a pretty big concave here for the Hydras. They're doing their best to take down these Dragoons, but I think that Ninja has broken out.
Wow. Barely breaking out. The Observer was lagging for a second there, so Alert got a lot more shots than it should have, and this ends up being a real trade of units where there's this leave the players 3 bases to 4. Ninja Banana was so much money, having skipped a lot of production cycles, just microing that battle, having perhaps not even started to compensate for that. He is now building probes, realizing he can saturate that 3rd base. He also built production over there that he probably just has to get to, basically. Once he spends his money, he would be in a fantastic position, but right now that is his problem, Kanzaki's problem, just time. He needs time to get back to those Lurkers and a decent army count.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, Ninja Banana's army is not big, so I don't think that Kanzaki has to worry about any kind of immediate hard pressure here. Instead, he's just gotta find a way to deal with these Corsairs that are currently running ramshackle over all of his overlords. And there's just not an answer. We can actually see Kanzaki is pretty badly supply blocked right now.
Yeah, really, really badly. So he can't make enough Scourge to help deal with it either. And at this point, honestly, you have to put a lot of Scourge. There are so many Corsairs that they could cover each other's backs with, I think, little micro. He scouts afford the base, but sees that it's not like it's super saturated. He didn't see much additional tech on the main either. Those Corsairs are not just damage dealers. They were great scouts. And Ninja Banana should be feeling good about this game again once he's got this bank under control, once he's added on a couple more gateways, as well as perhaps like a Temple Archives, playing to the rest of his EVP.
Yeah, 8 overlords on the way for Kanzaki. I think that pretty much sums up the state of the game right now. These Hydras are going to move out and put some pressure. There's actually really nothing defending this. The Corsairs are even going to fly over and lose a few of those ships for free, which is not great for Kanzaki here. The Hydras are going to be pressing in. It looks like Ninja Banana pulling up some units from the south, but you can't really contest that army with 2 Dragoons, and this 3rd is probably forfeit along with a lot of these probes.
I think so. Again, unable to spend that money, this could have been a lot more speed bots. Well, it could have been really zealots, he didn't have speed. Could have been a lot more zealots, could have been perhaps already the swarm, but desperately missing army. I think a lot of the supply lead that he has are in those probes. He had so many. He put a lot of his minerals into rebuilding those that it's very deceiving. This actual army is not substantial, and it's also Corsairs, you know, that don't help in that situation.
Yeah, all these probes are going to try to make a run for the hills.
The Corsairs
Getting caught up. Is a single probe gonna escape? No, that was an absolute meat grinder. And suddenly, despite everything that happened, Ninja Banana is stuck where he was, contained on 2 bases with an army that's not going to be big enough to break out of that Lurker count.
His Temple Archives is done, but Storm isn't. Speed isn't. He needs an army to actually combat Mass Hydra. Initially, it was okay just numbers-wise, but now it needs power to it. I think he's also fallen behind on those upgrades. Yeah, because he lost the Forge. Has to really use the new one. And Kanzaki might just still win this game, despite that initial contain being broken.
Yeah, it seems also like Kanzaki right now is content to just keep beating his opponent back to 2 bases. And Ninja's gonna step out here with his army, but Kanzaki can just fight this once those Lurkers get burrowed.
Yeah, oh my god, once Lurkers are burrowed, Ninja should have just ran for the hills. This Corsairs, again, not helpful at all. Ninja, he's just gonna lose this game. He doesn't have enough army. He has like 0 army.
Yeah, this is tough. I mean, there are still the 5 photon cannons that are going to provide some kind of defensive line here, but Kanzaki's feeling confident enough to push into these. The final zealots are going to trickle up towards the front, and I mean, the cannons are doing a good job of reducing the Hydra count, but there's nothing behind them to take advantage of kind of softening up Kanzaki's army, and even the probes coming off the line to fight, not a great battle probes versus Lurkers.
No, it's not. This is great news for Kanzaki. Ninja finally taking a loss of the series. GG. Well done by our aggressive Derek and Terran player.
Yeah, the infested Terran Kanzaki.
Yeah.
Going up 2-3. That was or 2-1 rather. That was a terrific series to end things out. I believe that is the end of the first season, the fall season. So we will be back in the spring after midterms. This is, of course, the Collegiate Star League. So everyone gets to take their finals, their midterms, whatever, and then we come back for the next semester. And after that, we have the playoff bracket, which should also be a lot of fun. So thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you, of course, to our primary sponsor, Twitch. You can see them at events all over the country. They help to make the CSL possible. And be sure to check out the CSL Discord if you're a player. Maybe you're looking to put a StarCraft 2 team together, or you just want some practice partners for Brood War. They've got the whole community in there, and I believe the command !Discord will bring that up. So I'm Joe. This is Zombie Grub. Thanks for casting with me with the Brood War this season, and we'll see you guys in the spring.
Yeah. See you guys.
Between us, before tomorrow comes, and it all gets lost again.